Hi, my name's Lonnie Williams, and I'm going to speak with you today about 12-step recovery. Many people have heard of the 12 steps through programs such as Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, things like that. But not many people are familiar with exactly what 12-step recovery is and what it entails. Brief history. It was first published in the uh, Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous in 1939. And ever since then, it has been adopted by different organizations to meet their needs. 12-step recovery is geared at assisting individuals that have issues with any number of things: drugs, alcohol, again, overeating, gambling, shopping, workaholism, how to manage that unmanageability, but even more so, how to build a relationship with a higher power to enable them to do so. I'm going to run down each of the 12 steps and some of the principles that are contained within. The first step generally would be that we admitted that we were powerless over, and it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be shopping, whatever. We are powerless over, let's say, alcohol, and that our lives had become unmanageable. What that very simply means, particularly for the individual who is suffering from whatever the malady is that they have attempted to, in some way, shape, or form, cease doing the activity that was causing them harm, but they have been unable to. That's a recognition of the powerlessness. And not being able to, then came the unmanageability in their lives. And unmanageability can manifest itself in many ways. As it relates to drugs and alcohol, the unmanageability is seen in homelessness, joblessness, estranged family and intimate relationships, and ultimately can lead to death. There is a principle that's contained in that step, and the principle is honesty. If one can be honest with themselves that they do have a problem, the door is then opened for them to receive help and to find sustained recovery in that effort. The second step is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Many of us understand the definition of sanity to be repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. And those who suffer from a 12-step issue can identify with that because they've probably engaged in some form of activity such as drug use that is causing their lives to become unmanageable, yet and still they continue to do that. The principle and the second step is faith. Faith that there is a power, a higher power that can restore them to sanity, simply meaning to remove their desire or inability to control their behavior, and to then to begin their path towards recovery, not of their own power, but of that higher power. The third step is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. I won't get into that word God. A lot of people have an issue with that, but in the rooms of 12-step recovery, we make it known that your God can be whomever or whatever you choose it to be. You oftentimes hear the phrase higher power used to, it's synonymous with God. Uh, what the principle is in the third step um, is we have honesty, we have faith, we have integrity. Because once I've turned my will and my life, which is my actions and my thinking, over to a higher power, the hope is that I will begin to live a life of integrity, of doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time. This doesn't happen overnight, yet we strive for spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. The fourth step is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And what it requires is for the individual to take a period of self-reflection and to look at their life, to review their life in different areas, the areas of resentments, fears, their conduct, and a sexual nature, their conduct, and just life in general, and then to put that on paper. And the purpose of which is to identify those areas in their lives where they may have thought that others were to blame. And again, this definitely requires some humility to do, because not everyone wants to get honest with themselves, because to face what I've done in the past can be a daunting task. Um, but it is a necessary step to move forward. Now, the fifth step is um, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And the principle contained in that step is discipline, because it does require some discipline to be honest with someone. Well, first of all, to be honest with yourself, then to be honest with the higher power that you're building a relationship with, and then someone else. Four and five, with humility and discipline, kind of go together, because once I've done that searching and fearless moral inventory, I then share that with another human being. And it is the experience of people who have sustained long-term sobriety that this step is a vital step. It's a step that can't be taken lightly. And it's one that even those ugly things about ourselves that we have put down on that fourth step inventory, we need to share with another individual. The sixth step says we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Again, you higher power, God, whatever one chooses, but the principle contained in that sixth step is willingness to um, to look forward and have the higher power that one is building a relationship with, and being ready for that higher power to get you through working on those character defects. Um, and character defects range in anything from being arrogant to being self-pitying to being miserly, and the list goes on and on. And only you can only identify those character defects through working a fourth, fifth, and a fourth and fifth step, and working with someone who can help you to identify them. The seventh step is humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. I've identified what my character defects are. I've shared those with a trusted individual, God, and of course myself. I believe that I'm ready to have them removed. It is now that I ask my higher power to remove them. And the principle contained in that step is hope. The hope that as these character defects are diminished, and prayerfully released fully, that I'll become a better person. The eighth step is made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And again, there's that word willing, and what it simply is what it says. We make a list of people whom we've done harm to, not physical harm, even though that is maybe a factor, but we've done people emotional harm. We've done people financial harm. We may have done people spiritual harm. And we've identified these people in our fourth step. We've talked about them in our fifth step, and now we're creating a list. And the key to that list is we're becoming willing to go to these individuals and to admit where our wrongs were, to set things right. The ninth step is make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Simply, I'm looking at that list of people. I am using the courage, which is the principle in this ninth step, the courage that my higher power has given me to go to someone and again admit where I was wrong, and to not necessarily ask for their forgiveness, but to ask, is there something that I can do to set it right? Um, the the main thing with the ninth step is I don't want to have the burden of a conscience of having done something wrong um, hanging over my head. I want to release those things from me so I can have some freedom to move about this world with a clear conscience. The 10th step says continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Now, again, very similar or similarly to the fourth step, one is on a daily basis taking a look at their uh, their behaviors and identifying areas where they have been wrong throughout the day, um, and wanting to be right with the world in general. And so, therefore, whereas in the past I would either stuff things down that I've done wrong, and certainly not admit where I've been wrong, I now try to make those things right on a daily basis. I share what I'm thinking and feeling with trusted members of my support group who help me to identify these things. And what this is, the principle contained in this step is love, because uh, what I want to show society is that I'm a loving individual, not a selfish and self-centered individual, which is the contrast of being loving and thinking of others. The 11th step is sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Um, and the principle contained in this step is perseverance. I want to attempt to get better day by day. And so all the steps up until this point are geared at helping me to do that. But the continuing through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God is that's helped me to continue to see where I need areas of improvement in my life. I'm never going to be a perfect. However, I strive, like I said earlier, for spiritual perfection. How can I be more honest? How can I be more loving? How can I show more courage? How can I be more willing and open-minded? Um, how can I have a greater faith? These are things that through prayer and meditation, communicating with my higher power, those things will come to light. And they'll come to light because all I'm asking is for my higher power to direct my path on a daily basis. And then we come to the 12th step, which is having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Uh, what the basis or what the principle contained in the 12th step is very simple: service. How can I be of service to other people? How can I be of service to those in need? How can I be of service to my family, to my employer, to my friends, to the stranger at the store? Um, it is the hope that by this time, having worked these steps, that I will think less of myself and more of the world in general, and less of what the world is giving to me and what can I give back to the world. Working the 12 steps, I've heard, is the easiest, hardest thing to do. And what that means is that the steps themselves are very simple. However, people who need a 12-step program are pretty complex, so we make the simple difficult. Um, my personal experience was that for decades, I was that individual that made what was easy hard. Um, the higher power that we speak about in these 12 steps um, eh, was with me all along, and I got to a point where I just simply decided to do the easy way, and by the grace of God, I've been able to have a sustained period of sobriety by doing what? Helping others, by making amends when necessary, by sharing what I'm thinking and feeling. And that, in a nutshell, is 12-step recovery. I hope I've been informative. Thank you.